you even hear me? I tried restarting my computer and it didn't help. Sometimes that fixes it. Can you hear my voice at all? indicator is right down at the bottom. This any better? I switched it to the mic on my camera. So how is everybody doing tonight? That Steve better show up. He's been whining about us being on too early for him. And I'm betting Finkel fell asleep. Well, speaking of which, I hate silence. So I think I'll play this until someone joins me on the internet. See how Nikki is? So how you doing?
Pretty good. Like I said, I'm trying to stay away from controversy right now.
The battery on my Google phone died, so
Hey, what controversy?
I'm next to the Treasury Department now.
Any controversy.
There's no controversy. Everything is rainbows and snowstorms. I don't know.
The snowstorms are controversy. I don't like them.
Think we should let this up?
That's up to you. It's your channel. Hi, Barbara.
Hi. I wasn't going to do the mic thing because I feel like I talk too much and nobody else talks.
No, you don't talk too much. I mean, last night it was all Finkel, so. Nerdy, we're not sure who knows how to spell little, but it's okay.
Go with SMALL.
So you like this, huh, Barb?
I did. Especially that song at the end. That really brought it together. That made me want to cry. I wish I could have been there. Just being a part of that group of people was kind of neat, you know. Getting on the metro on the way home must have been a nightmare, though. I was there for the kids and I were there for a 4th of July once right there at the Washington Monument. I don't know if there were that many people. I can hardly remember. I was trying to keep track of my children, but it was pretty darn crowded.
All right, the ellipse has reached full capacity.
I was,
I'll remind you, did
I was
not
glad to
happen
see
on
other people
January
comment
6th.
on the
It has
song
reached full capacity.
because I ended up
Now,
getting
this is for
myself with
everyone that
that
is still
one,
in line over in
and I didn't know if it was just
on the
me.
Washington Monument grounds.
No, that was a
Again,
good
the
choice.
ellipse has reached full capacity. Trump has never done that. The remainder of the crowd is coming over here to the Washington Monument on the
I don't know how
National
long
Mall.
I'll be with you tonight, though. What's the matter?
This is fantastic. I'm sorry I couldn't
Come on.
get in, but this is fantastic that we had this turnout. This is three Trump supporters. I told one of them,
I'll
isn't
put
it
her on in a
nice
minute.
that you can come here in opposition?
My dog was watching
I
a
could dress
show, and I
fancy
turned it
if I
off
went
when
to a
I went
Trump
on
rally
here, and
and
he's
made
like
it
giving
clear
me the
who I
face now.
was, I'd get my ass beat. But we don't do that here. Because we're America-loving, God-loving, patriotic Americans. You're allowed to have your opinion. You're just not allowed to attack the Capitol. God bless America.
Hey, Carrie.
He's probably not quite ready. I said I was timing him.
Did you not hear me?
No, not till just then. Oh, hey, my signal just improved.
I'm sitting here messing with settings.
Donald, all these people are voting. You lost, ma'am.
I gotta say, Finkel, I think you did an excellent job on this video.
I will be a president for all Americans.
I'm a great editor. And by the way, you're all elite.
And I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris gets it. Kamala Harris is going to give 100 million Americans a middle-class tax cut.
She'll lower the cost of everyday needs.
Protect us from price gouging.
I have never voted for a Democrat, but I am proudly.
Did you watch this yet?
President Kamala Harris.
No, I'm just now. I've been editing the other thing.
We must stop them. To all my fellow men.
I gave myself a credit at the end.
For the women in your life and vote for Vice President Harris.
You know, I didn't notice that at first. I love that little spot, that kid there playing with the soccer ball, you know?
Donald Trump is an
I don't remember a soccer ball.
America deserves a leader in the office.
Yeah, just back a couple of seconds ago, there was a little kid over there just kicking the soccer ball around.
Oh, okay. This crowd's bigger than the January 6th crowd. And Not one of these people will be arrested for anything they do tonight.
Turn the page on Trump, y'all.
I thought this was a real good shot here.
Kamala Harris.
Really shows the crowd.
Huh.
For all of us. Just as hard as I fight for my son.
Was the speakers live or did you put that in?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The speakers, was that live last night or did Danny put that in?
There were live speakers last night, but I left before they started speaking. When I left, they were still playing recordings.
I didn't, yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't remember
Well,
hearing.
this stuff that you're hearing now, though, was going on while he was there. It was
Yeah.
videos they were playing while he was there.
They're
Oh,
playing
okay.
over the, what do they call that, a Jumbotron or whatever?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, because I don't remember hearing any of that.
I am, this area here near the Porta-John smelled a lot like a Trump rally.
Stop.
This is simply wrong.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Nice.
We shall all be free.
This is the first time you're seeing this?
We shall
First time I've seen the edited version.
all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday.
Damn, I'm good at editing.
We shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace.
I love that.
We shall live in peace.
The horses.
Oh, no, just all of it.
Mm.
We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe
We shall overcome some.
Just humming now, a cappella. Here we go.
Amen.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm a great editor. I love my editing work.
You know, one of my favorite parts was earlier on when you were filming the drone and you put on there at a Harris rally, nobody even notices the drone. At a Trump rally, this would be the deep state trying to steal everybody's souls or something like that. I thought that was clever of you. Okay, now let's all beat up Kerry because he's a Trump
Actually,
voter.
a few people did notice the drone. That's how I noticed it. People are pointing up. I'm like, what are they pointing at?
I would imagine it was one of the police departments because I would guess that drones, commercial, civilian drones or whatever would be banned from something like that.
Oh yeah, it's either law enforcement or media. Probably law enforcement.
Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight?
My tummy's better. My ankle is killing me, and I'm tired.
Did you put ice on the ankle?
No ice, no ice. But I did make chili. I had wonderful, wonderful chili. It came out good.
Despite the use of the wrong kind of sauce.
I use paste. I didn't use sauce, but I used seasoning. I used ground beef, chili peppers, jalapeno peppers, corn.
Corn.
Beans, two kinds of
Corn.
beans. Corn. Yeah. Put corn in there. It was corny.
Really?
It was corn chili. Yeah.
I don't
Corn
think I've ever
and
had corn.
chili.
I we're all like corn.
And I made enough to last me, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. I make too much chili. I still cook like I'm raising a family. It's just me sometimes, Pat.
You know, though, your mention of corn, what you really needed with it, some cornbread.
Yeah, I did cornbread too. I like it on rice. Pat likes it on cornbread, but we ran out of rice. I forgot to pick up the rice.
I'll sometimes like if I have like leftover rice, I'll do that, or sometimes macaroni.
I haven't. Oh yeah, well, at Hard Times Cafe they call it macaroni, but it's actually spaghetti noodles. Excuse me.
I like to put cheddar cheese on it and use Doritos.
Ooh.
Yes, cheddar cheese, or a mix of cheeses, including cheddar.
You know what I've done. Sometimes at restaurants would ask for is some diced onions on top. So rumor has it Kerry went to the doctor today.
How's Kerry doing?
Well, I guess the sonogram said he has twins. Oh, that's what Nikki told me.
Triplets.
Oh, I was wrong. It was triplets. Okay.
No, I'm just really happy that I feel a lot better than I have in many, 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 many months.
They give you some steroids or something?
No, increased my pain pump. In between a rock and a hard spot, but I had to because of the Kentucky laws, I had to choose one of the lesser evils. So I just decided to go with them working on my pain pump again. That's the best way I can put it.
Is that for a back issue?
Yeah, I got hurt on construction in 1999, and I've suffered with this injury since.
I'm sorry to hear that. I understand. I go Tuesday for actually, I'm getting some steroid injections in my neck on Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Those aren't fun.
No, they put me to sleep for it, because they do it under x-ray and they put me to sleep. It's like a Band-Aid at this point. It's anything I can do to keep out of surgery.
Yeah, I went through like 6 separate epidural blocks, whatever those shots to the hips when I first got injured, and pretty much tried to fight anything I could and took anything that I could get without, any kind of pain medication. And I ended up having to give in like in 2003. So I thought I did pretty good fighting the best that I could.
I'm sorry you're dealing with all that.
Thank you. It's been a roller coaster, let me tell you. I'm sorry about what you're going through too, Barbara. Sorry about that.
Are your doctors understanding, or do you feel like you get judgment?
Actually, when we were in Florida, that pain doctor seemed really judgy. But when we moved back to Kentucky, the one that I already went to, I went back to him, and he's been understanding. And I mean, he's, tried to really, really help me with, my treatment and stuff. So I'm glad that I went back to him so far. After my visit today, I think I'm hopeful this lasts at least for as long as it'll last. Because I've seen like 8 or 9 neurosurgeons, and a lot of them make like there's nothing they can do.
Now, see, my pain doctor is judgy of me because I'm like you, Carrie. I do what I can without having to take anything that gets prescribed.
Right.
And the doctor is real judgy of that. It's almost like here they want to push whatever they can.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go to completely whole different doctor, don't know your situation, they they're real judgy. That's what happened when we moved to Florida.
Well, I have to say, go ahead.
I kind of like judgy doctors when I see a new one because they always prejudge me. And then they look at my blood work and go, oh, I don't know what to say. Your cholesterol is good. Your sugar is good. Your blood pressure is good.
Yeah.
My line is, I said I want to get a bumper sticker that says, an MRI does not lie.
Actually, you used to have one of my favorite bumper stickers of all time. This is not an abandoned vehicle.
Yeah. I needed it. I would have had it towed. People would have towed it. Especially when I'd go to Jersey. Not that I had to worry about anybody ever stealing any of my cars. But I was going to say, I'm lucky now. The pain doctor I have is awesome. He's really compassionate, and he never ever makes me feel like he doesn't believe anything I'm saying. But like I said, they do the tests and they see the pictures, and they can't dispute any of my feelings.
Yeah, they had a procedure they called the spine cath back. I had that procedure, intradiscal electrotherapy, back in 2002. That was before, like I said, I was back in no other choice. And that was real popular back then, but now it ain't real popular because it don't help with pain relief very long.
And what was that again?
It was called the spine cath, which is also known as the IDET procedure, intradiscal electrotherapy. In Kentucky, when they done it to me, I was awake, and they would take a needle super long and it would curve in your disc, because the first doctor I ever went to, he said I had torn disc, and he I mean, he heated it up, and I mean, I'm awake, but I'm under anesthesia or whatever you want to call it, numbed where I can't feel it. Then he done my L5, and went to stick the needle in. The needle went straight through and hit a nerve and made my leg pop up. And he goes, "I need a scalpel," and I'm like, "I thought you weren't going to cut on me." So apparently my L5 was worse than what the MRI showed. So he had to make a cut and go at another angle, and that helped for like 9 months, and then that's when it completely failed. So I guess it happened with a lot of people with that procedure.
9 months is a nice break, but boy, it sucks when all of a sudden it all comes back.
Yeah, anytime I've ever have to lay flat on my back, I wake up in god awful pain. They end up having to give me medicine in my IV every single time. And I mean, it's just ever since I was jerked forward, moving. It's one of those big conveyors that, but when Amazon was I worked in the Amazon building Amazon in Kentucky, and the guy dropped his end, and I mean, my automatic reaction was grab it, and it jerked me, and it like taking a rubber band and pulling it so far where you start seeing tears and stuff, but don't break the rubber band. But that's how it felt to me with my back.
Oh, jeez.
And I've even told them when they stuck an epidural needle every time, I'm like, that's where that pain is giving me the most problems. But them nerve blocks and stuff only was, helped, and then it quit helping. So.
Well, I really hope that this, what procedure you had today gives you some relief.
It was just a pain pump refill, and they just increased the flow of the medication more to target the area. Basically, it bypasses like where people take oral meds, like it does stuff to your liver, where they go straight into the spinal canal.
Oh, okay.
And this is my fourth pain pump. This is my fourth one. It's 2022 when I got it replaced. My fourth one.
What part of Kentucky are you in?
I'm in where they have the Apple Festival at Casey County Apple Festival. And
we have family in Pike. Is it? Wait, Pikes.
Pikeville.
Yeah, I forget the county now though.
See, we live in Liberty, so we're south of Lexington, like directly under Lexington, like about an hour and a half, if you know where Lexington, Kentucky is.
They're right around the corner from Butcher Hall,
and the guy that you remember, that guy that done that shooting in Laurel County in London, Kentucky. It was on the news quite a bit. He was shooting people on I-75.
Yes.
The guy that found his body, he lives in the same town and county I live in, the Hatfields and McCoy. That was who found him, but he lives in the same county as we do. And by the way, it's nice meeting you too, Barbara.
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's nice coming in, but like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm crowding the conversation or anything.
No,
but when I'm like good. Danny, when nobody else is talking, I feel like I have to talk. And if I get nosy and you don't want to tell me something, just tell me. It's none of my business.
Oh, no, you're fine.
You see that, Mr. Mucker? I'm fine.
Oh, it's Muckster. Oh, Muckster. He's the man on the channel. I can't say nothing bad about him.
Oh,
Muckster's not even up here now. His internet must have gone down again.
Oh, really? That's funny. Finkel's quiet. He must have dozed off.
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking. I heard my name. What'd I miss?
You didn't miss anything.
I miss everything actually.
I'm just trying to familiarize myself with you fine folks.
Well, thank you. And crippled folks.
Yeah, I'm a mess.
I hear you. About all of us are a mess.
My grandson fell today and had to get 5 stitches in his knee.
Oh, that hurts.
Which one?
His Silas.
That was my guess.
Well, was it a couple weeks ago he had to get x-rays, same leg, that when he was hunting for voles and he fell under a rock somehow and they thought for sure his leg was broken. So yeah, same leg, 5 stitches. But he thinks he'll still be able to trick or treat.
By the way, Nikki likes Ava.
Everybody likes Ava until they know her. No, I'm kidding.
She liked the quote, "I'm not being bossy. I'm just telling him what he has to do."
What about how she interprets what Silas says? You know,
Story. I think he said fuck.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm trying not to say that word.
But you can't tell the story without it.
Well, I know. I was hoping you would tell it. Yeah, she's something. She's not real happy about having to do school. Even more unhappy that she found out she has to write for the rest of her life.
No, from the sounds of it, she's going to definitely stand up to everybody, make her opinion known. And at that point, she'll realize that she's not going to have to write because her mouth will do it for her.
She'll have somebody doing it. I know everybody says, oh, she has 3 older brothers. People better look out. And I'm like, no. People better not mess with her brothers because of their sister.
Oh.
They're a good bunch.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1.
Outstanding.
What are you doing?
I'm adding stuff to my election day premiere that's going to hopefully run all day long.
Early voting starts for us tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess I should make it a 2-week-long election season.
Hey, November is here on Friday. You're going to have to start your end of the year videos soon. After last year,
yeah,
you decided to do like a 3-parter last year that went for like 20 episodes.
I was a lot more active with the camera last year. The hottest part of the summer, I stayed in my cool basement. Because I'm a wussy. I'm getting old. It's getting hard to get out there and walk around.
Especially stairs.
Especially stairs, yes.
Yeah.
On, let's see, videos. On November 8th, we're going to see the Exorcist steps.
Saw them already.
I figured once you hacked my account, you probably watched everything.
No, what was that last?
Pardon?
You showed us the video.
Oh, I showed you.
Last-
Okay, that's right.
Either last night or the night before.
Okay, probably the night before. Last night I was a hurting unit. I wasn't good for anything last night.
Yeah,
Bad pork sausage, bad ankle, bad attitude.
Yeah, Finkel, there's a tornado watch over there in Oklahoma.
I'm a long ways from Oklahoma.
Oh no, your friend.
Well, my bestest buddy.
Yeah, the
My-
one you're going to see the day before Christmas.
I don't.
I thought we said there was no controversy tonight.
No,
That
no
it was
channel was
just
mentioned.
clickbait.
I don't even know why they have tornado watches.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have tornado hiding.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a tornado coming, don't tell me to go watch it. That's just silly. I mean, I don't even like yellow brick roads.
No, I have to say
you know-
I do go out and watch them when
I
they
grab,
issue them.
grab my camera and run outside.
Munchkins
do-
scare me.
I have heard if there's a tornado in the Pittsburgh area, run for the football stadium because there's never a touchdown there.
There was a woman on video rebuking a tornado, and it didn't even touch her. It went on.
Well, I'm going to have to rebuke it. Yeah.
She's like, in the name of Jesus.
All right. If it works, you know.
Yeah, it worked. I figured Finkel to go in the name of Jesus, make Trump leave.
All you need is a Sharpie.
There you go. All right. If I do
Hey,
that,
Dan, that Ida Reams that died, was she the one that was shooting at the kids that night in the park?
Yep, she's the one that pulled a gun on kids that were out looking for Pokemon. She's our crazy ex-mayor.
They still do that game?
Where they're back there, they're behind and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was a couple years ago anyway, though.
Oh.
all righty then.
So what's going on tomorrow? Anybody doing anything fun? Halloween parties or anything?
If I understand it, a whole bunch of kids, underage kids, are being taught to go out begging. They actually go door to door and beg people. And I just think that's just, you know. All right.
You know, the bad thing about not having kids is I don't have any midgets bringing those bags of candy home to me.
That's a good point. I got to go upstairs and see what the grandson got for me. Peanut M&Ms. Yeah, yeah.
Kentucky's trying to pass something fast as they can where sex offenders can't pass out candy. I think they're a little behind.
Well, yeah, I would say.
I know Florida already has one in place.
Well, they're not even supposed to be like around kids though. Period.
But yeah, they're just now trying to pass something. I mean, Halloween's tomorrow.
Well,
But they tried that in one of the other states, and the Supreme Court has ruled that it is against their rights. As long as they are registered, then it is up to the parents to make sure that their children are safe. Because if they're registered, then they're on the website and their address and everything is there too.
I was going to say, what kind of parent is going to let their kids go out trick or treating unobserved anyway?
When I was a brat on an Air Force base, my parents did. Oh wait, we were on Air Force base. It was pretty safe. Of course, I don't
Yeah,
think
actually, we never had any supervision either. Actually, now that I think of it.
Well,
Yeah, once
yeah.
I was about 9, we went without parents.
So let's say I did something bad and I was registered as having done something bad, and I live in a neighborhood, and I live in Florida, and Florida passes this law, and these kids who go randomly house to house, they don't, I just knock on every door.
Yeah.
Some kid knocks on my door and says trick or treat. Did I just break the law? I
As
mean,
long as you don't open the door or answer the door.
That's a good point, I guess. But I mean,
Someone knocks at your door, you're not allowed to answer.
yeah.
Not a,
What if it's the police who want to issue a knock warrant? I don't know. It seems, I like the idea. If you're an offender and you put on a registry, it's up to the parents to check out that registry.
Yeah,
I guess I
this
could
is-
answer the door and say, "No candy for you. I'm a bad boy."
No, this is what an offender looks like when somebody knocks on his door and they go, "Ooh, it's a kid." That's probably what they do.
I know around here there's some places. There's a couple places I know they have a sign right on the door, like officially from the sheriff's department. So I guess that's a way of notifying people right there.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But I know you're not allowed to be within so many feet of a school or whatever. I mean, I don't know the rules. I'm not on the register, so
Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
yeah, I really.
I imagine it varies case to case, though. Also, it's probably just like when someone's on probation or something, and some may be told that they're not allowed to drink or whatever. Each case probably has different.
I like the idea of the registry, and I like the idea of people convicted getting put on the registry. But I know there's got to be a line somewhere, and I think this crosses a line. I don't know this person personally. My brother knows this person who has a corner lot with thick, tall hedges all the way around his house, and it's posted property. And he gets up one morning and after the shower, heads straight for the coffee pot, pours himself a cup of coffee, and goes back into his room, whatever. Meanwhile, kids are cutting through his yard to get to the school bus. They see that, they report to mom and dad. Mom and dad report it to the police. He gets arrested, charged, convicted, and placed on the registry for being a, quote, sex offender. I'm like,
And his reputation is ruined. And
yeah. just for going to your coffee maker naked. The moral of the story is get dressed before you go to the coffee maker.
and also, if a girlfriend, a boyfriend's 17, the girlfriend's 16, that's fine. And then next month, the girl turns 17, and the next month, the boy turns 18. Now he's a sex offender because he's with a 17-year-old and he's 18.
Yeah, that's another one. That's I think there should be.
There's a lot of states that allow the Romeo and Juliet law for that.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say they have it like they'll say like a 3-year difference or something like that.
I don't know. My girlfriend is 10 years older than me. Now, at 59 and 69, that's not a problem. But let's say I met her when I was 10 and she's 20.
Ew, gross.
There's a big problem there. So I think, hey, trackable. It should vary, and I don't know the math, but it should vary the age. You're 15, she's 14, she turns 15, 16. But there should be some kind of sliding scale because once you're 22, a 20-year-old is not so bad, or an 18-year-old is not so bad. But if you slide that 4 years back a couple years, you got a problem. unless you guys want to charge my girlfriend with molesting a 59-year-old.
You wish.
Or maybe I'm molesting the elderly. Oh, that's
Oh,
That's elder file.
elder file. Yeah.
Yep. Or elder philia.
Elderfield.
So, Nikki, you seem to know a little bit about everything, and that's why we don't let you play trivia with us anymore.
No, it's not that they don't let me play trivia. It's just that I decided I would not play trivia and help keep score.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was because you made us look bad.
No, it's
I
just that
didn't-
she
Oh,
can
you-
count much better than us.
No, I made the decision to not play anymore.
Ah, I thought it was a group vote or something. It said
I thought
nobody,
Muck said
nobody
no.
wants to play with you. You're too smart for us.
Yeah.
speak for yourself.
No, I'm just one of those boring people who reads a lot and does research when, I have nothing better to do.
And obviously you retain.
Mhm.
Research is overrated.
Yeah, okay.
I guess it depends on what you're researching.
Stop researching and start searching.
I read the
Searching for
companies.
what?
I don't
All love
fucking-
in all the wrong places.
Oh, I found that already.
Twice.
So how old do you think someone has to be left home alone?
6 months.
They definitely have to be older than 6 months. How much older?
Right, It depends on the cage that you built to maintain them.
I think it depends on what you mean by being left home alone, like for how long and where the parents are. Because I
Yes.
think a 10-year-old can be left home alone to some extent.
Oh my God. The neighborhood wars in base housing, especially in Asken Manor, Germany, wives, sometimes husbands go at it to the point where if you're in the house with the kids and you go down to the common laundry room to throw a load of laundry in, you have like eight units sharing a laundry room, and your neighbor sees that, they call the MPs.
So
I think if they got a couple 8 or 9-year-olds and they step out to the laundry room and they come right back,
Yeah.
I think they're fine.
Steve,
And this is and this is military on military hate.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to trust on the responsibility of the people who are like, hey, how can I get away with some shit today?
Steve says it's 16 there. And
Yeah, there's laws in
here
some
you got well, yeah, but you got like 12 and 13-year-olds that babysit other kids.
Some states have laws on the books, some don't. I was babysitting at like 11 and 12. And it really sometimes depends on the kid. I know like Ava could probably babysit her big brothers at one point,
Right.
I thought it was
Well,
interesting though, a lot of the southern states, like I don't know if it was Kentucky, but I think like Alabama maybe. Some of them were 6 years old. The law stated that at 6 years old was old enough to be left at home alone.
Yeah.
That's a little young. I don't know.
Yeah, for any amount of time,
Yeah.
maybe 6 is fine for the laundry room. I wouldn't say 6 is fine for an 8-hour workday.
I mean, how old
Yeah.
was Ricky when he put his arm in the ringer washer? Like 5 or something?
Yeah, but he wasn't alone either.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He wasn't even alone, and he
Yeah.
did that.
And see where I'm at, the law actually states if the parent feels the child is responsible enough to be left alone for the period of time that the parent feels, then it's fine.
What the
So
fuck kind of a crazy state thinks parents should be responsible for their own children? What is this
exactly.
world coming to?
Exactly. So, leaving a 6-year-old alone for the 10 minutes to run down to the laundry room,
Yeah.
I would do, if it was
I, I,
my child, I would do that.
I mean, have you ever heard of public school before?
No.
Like where you send your kid because
They're, but they're
I'm,
not alone.
they're not alone, but they're not with you, are they?
Well, they have adult supervision though.
Yeah, and we see how that goes. So what I'm saying is you have to have some sort of trust with the other adult system.
Yeah.
Because you are letting go of your child to send them to the public school system while you're about to be late for work just to make sure that they're not late for school. It happens. This is real life.
Yeah, I totally lost track of what you were saying.
That's okay.
I do see kids waiting for the school bus with no parents around. I don't know their ages. I just drive by and look, a bunch of kids waiting for the school bus. Or of course, I don't know. Are their parents in a house nearby? We're looking out the window. Did they send them walking 3 blocks and they're not picking? I don't know. I don't know.
Florida, if you're in a 2-mile radius, they make you walk, and there's little kids that get close to the road. I'm surprised none of them got hit yet. I mean,
So let me ask you this.
Well, back in our day, like we could take a note, not that our parents smoked, but take a note to the store at 6 years old and get them cigarettes.
So let me ask you this. It's kind of on the subject of kids being safe and stuff like that, and old enough to go to the park alone or whatever. Do you think the world has changed, or we just think it's changed because of media, movies, internet, the news, whatever?
Are you talking about reactions or behavior in the first place?
Well, the fact, thinking that it's more dangerous out there, that there's more pedophiles, or, like I did a video way back when on how when I was a kid, a major mode of transportation was your thumb. When's the last time you saw anybody hitchhiking? Because people are afraid that they're going to either be picked up by an idiot or that the hitchhiker is dangerous. But the question is, did the world change, or do we just think it changed?
I would say it like this is that my kid has all the capabilities in the world, and it is 100% my fears that shape what is allowed and not allowed. So all the shit that I did as a kid, before and beyond her age as she is right now, it's like I'm not a forgetter, and there's certain things I don't want her to go through, but at the same time, I want her to have, that freedom. But oh my God, it's tough sometimes because it's like, how do you mix freedom with protection? It's
Didn't come
tough.
anywhere near answering my question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I feel like actually the world has changed where it's it's so weird because like we couldn't go anywhere in our town and do something wrong without our parents knowing about it before we got home. And if somebody else yelled at us for something, then we got in even more trouble when we got home. But now,
That has changed.
if you say something to the kid next door, like, you better get off that roof or you're going to fall and break your neck, their parents going to come out and yell at you for saying something to their kid. It's like kids will say, like, use language around an adult. Like, I guess that's when I realized I was an old person, when young kids were like using terrible language and didn't have any respect for the fact that they were talking like that in front of an old lady. I would have never, and even now, I police myself in front of other people. And kids just don't do that now. And if you said something to somebody's kid about their language, their parents are going to come after you.
Mm-hmm.
That would have never happened when I was 10.
Yeah. I would agree that parents are less on the side of other adults who try to keep the kids in line. And more,
It's not like takes a village anymore.
yeah. It was like,
So is that the world changed, or is it because of social media, or
it seems like it took a village until someone wrote a book called "It Takes a Village," and then everyone rebelled against the idea.
So Barb, young Dr. Bill told me one time, I don't know if you even know, they used to live in that duplex down the street from where we lived, where I remember
Flex
your one
used to
friend
live.
lived there.
Flex.
Yeah. Okay, so your mother was walking home the one day, and Bill was out there in his own backyard doing something, and she stopped and yelled at him for what he was doing and told him, "Get in your house." Yeah, you don't see people doing stuff like that anymore.
And his parents never came after mom. They probably said, well, she, or he was probably afraid to tell him. Mrs. Mookie up the road yelled at me. Like, I would never go home and tell daddy, oh, so-and-so yelled at me, because we would have got yelled at.
It was like, what'd you do wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's
so
dead.
what did that? Was it social media? Like, what made that difference?
I think what it is, and I can pretty much speak for at least 4 of us on the panel, is that we overreacted to how we were raised. We were the feral kids.
Amen.
And when we had kids, it was like, no, my kids aren't going to, be out at midnight in the middle of the cornfield, puking their guts up, praying that they're not going to live to see the next day.
Amen.
So what do you
I
think
think it's
changed
that
it,
we overreacted.
And
now,
I would rather my kid be the one to be like, "Hey, Dad, I fucked up. I'm with them, but we need help," rather than my kid be the one, or it's like, "Hey, you wouldn't believe what your kid did last night."
somebody else coming to you and saying your kid did this or that.
Yeah.
I would always tell my parents, that, hey, yeah, I was passed out in the cornfield, But like I said, I think it was the fact that we were feral. We were the latchkey kids. We, like you guys said, we're able to go to the grocery store and buy cigarettes for our parents. We got up in the morning and was told go outside and play, and nobody knew where we were. And then when we had kids, we couldn't imagine letting that precious little life not know where we, not know that their parent was like right behind them. Oh no,
So
I was not the perfect daughter.
my
Overcompensated.
Yeah,
my
we
problem is
overcompensated.
my problem is I never did anything wrong, so it's hard to relate to all that. I told people a couple. How a few years back the big thing people used to complain about is every kid gets a trophy. Every kid, there's no more winners than that. They give trophies to every kid, and so now that's why they're growing up like this. And I'd say, yeah, and which generation give them the trophies? They're complaining about themselves, basically. It's the parents that created these kids.
Yeah,
Let me tell you
participation
a story of
trophies.
three unsupervised 8-year-olds. No, 5-year-olds. 3 unsupervised 5-year-olds.
Honestly, I would rather do everything wrong.
I was the area victim until
Boy,
ninth
is what screwed it all up.
and then I learned to defend myself, and for a while I was a bit of a bully.
Bob said lawyers are what started to screw everything up.
Once everybody started getting sued.
Everybody started getting sued.
Yeah, it was easy. Yes, lawsuits. That was a big part of it. So let's take 3 unsupervised 5-year-olds. One gets into the cleaning products under the sink and poisons himself. Another is playing with the curtains and chokes himself on the curtain strings. And another finds mommy's gun and shoots somebody. Why is it the first two, the parents are in trouble, but the third one, the parents get all the legal defense in the world and their rights to be gun owners are protected?
Not only that, the curtain company gets sued. The whatever the first one was, they get sued. Gun company does not get sued.
Right.
I just saw a meme today I liked. It said no 4-year-old has ever gotten into his father's books and accidentally killed his sister. Something like that. I guess it shot his sister. Did we just lose somebody? No, Track.
Yeah, Track.
He couldn't. He couldn't. Oh,
I see. Did he? Yep. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping in, Track. If you're still hearing us.
Yeah. I don't know what changed, but I'd be much more worried about a 7-year-old running around the neighborhood or the woods unsupervised today than I think of me being 7 and running around the neighborhood or the woods when I was 7.
Yeah.
Is society changed?
My dad's gun was right there, and I never touched it. None of us did.
That's the big question: is did things change, or is it just perception?
Of course, perception does change things.
Yeah.
Corporal punishment.
No, who said that?
Bob walked in the
Is it
room in the
Bob?
middle of this, so he decided to join in on the discussion.
I definitely will have to disagree with any talk of corporal punishment because I didn't get hit at home, and I behaved at home.
I never
When I
did
was a
either,
kid,
but it's threat.
I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. When I was a kid, they were still allowed to paddle you in school, and that's where I got in trouble. So I don't go with any of that shit of, well, back in my day, our parents would have beat the shit out of us if we did that.
I don't know. Shit out of it. That's a whole different ballgame.
I feel like as a corporal, I got punished more than I did as a specialist or a sergeant.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like knowing the threat was there at home was enough to keep us on the straight and narrow. But I feel like in school, like Mrs. Richardson would spank all of us, whether it was you or it was somebody. Like didn't matter. If so and so stepped out of line, we all got spanked. Like it wasn't like. So it didn't matter if you were in trouble or not. You were always going to get spanked, no matter who got in trouble. I don't know. You're right. I got in trouble. I got spanked in school. 4th grade. That was like the only time I remember ever getting spanked.
You probably deserved it.
I was practically perfect in every way.
My 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Canara, really liked to paddle, and what she would do is she would take you into the cloakroom. Do they even have cloakrooms anymore?
Probably not.
And I remember I held the record. I can remember because of course, the whole room could hear the smack, 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 and I'd come out of that room and there'd be kids going to me, 7. It was 7 this time. They were keeping count, and it was like, well, you're up to 12. Because each time she skipped more.
And what did you do? Do you remember any of it?
Not really. I always sort of had a tendency to
talk back,
not respect authority.
Still, or your sister?
Now I am the authority. You're all out of here.
No respect for authority. No respect for your sister.
No.
Just no respect.
Authority is different than the old man down the street. You need to respect.
I never did quite track with that whole you got to respect your elders thing, because I'd look at some of those elders and think, why would I respect that? Look at Finkel.
What'd I do?
You don't get no respect. No respect at all. Finkel wasn't married. He was sentenced. I love Rodney Dangerfield. And by the way, Steve, we've been here pretty much every night. You're the one that's been not here.
Slacker.
We can't help you. You don't want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to see us.
I think he's across the street where he thinks it's more fun. I'm sorry. I didn't go.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and get off of here so I can get ready for pumpkin time. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you later.
You too.
All right, Slacker. Go ahead and leave us.
Don't threaten us.
Bye.
Good night. It was really nice talking to you.
Thanks, Nick.
It was tolerable. Yeah. I'm kidding.
I'm going to get going too. But
Another-
it was, I appreciate you guys welcoming me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, whose
It's
idea
nice,
was
it's
that?
nice having friends.
Well, if you look over on the panel next to you is Mr. Carey. Obviously, we welcome anybody.
Yeah. Hey, we even let the Kiwi in here.
Oh, I missed the Kiwi.
No, not tonight.
Okay.
It's 2 nights in a row he wasn't here for my insult. Damn it!
So I get home last night. I come up on the panel. I share some of the clips from the rally. I feel sick. I go to sleep. I wake up this morning, and people are trashing the president for. It sounds like they're trashing the president for saying that the people who called human beings garbage are garbage. And they're offended at the response of garbage, not the original content of garbage. I'm like, what the hell? And I get into a political chat forum about it, and they're saying, oh, the president stole the thunder from the vice president. I'm like, I didn't even know about this until you all brought it up. But I'll tell you what. If
They
you're
can say so much everything, but then as soon as you say something,
yeah.
it's a big insult and they can't handle it.
So I told him, if President Joe Biden offended you by calling garbage callers garbage, my suggestion is don't vote for President Biden.
There you go.
That's the
Problem
like the
solved.
Facebook. That's the Facebook conversation I used to have with Mr. Carey's people. Is you'd be having this long debate, and I'd say something like, you're an idiot. And they'd go, oh, there you are, typical liberal going to the name calling. And I'd say, you know what? If you're voting for Trump, you have no fucking reason to be offended by name calling.
I never said anything like that.
I didn't say, no, I'm saying your people.
Oh.
Those,
not my people.
Anyway, good night, Barb and Bob. Trump
I'll
voters.
talk to you. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow or the next time. Let me know if you're going to be here.
All right. Thanks for warning.
I'm usually late to the game. I watch your lives after they're live sometimes.
Oh.
I don't know why my phone will ding me like a half an hour later or something. So it's been nice to come in on the top of the show.
Sometimes Muckster will text some of us, say, I'm going live.
He let me know.
Yeah.
That's how I knew. But I've got to get ready for bed. I'm just like, not feeling great. So have a good night and enjoy the nice warm weather if you're lucky to have it.
All right. It is supposed to be warm
Hey,
here. Get some rest.
It was 70. It was 70 here today for some reason.
Yeah. Good night. Love you guys.
Good night.
See you, Bob.
Oh, he's gone. He left already.
Oh.
He's in and out.
And then there were three. Yeah, three.
By the way, I always text you people.
You people. What do you mean, you people?
Even when I know none of you will be able to join.
Oh, I actually I was late. I'm sorry I was late.
I thought maybe you fell asleep.
No, I got engrossed in the editing. You'd think as engrossed as I was, I'd be as good at editing as you are. And this damn.
I got to study. Go ahead.
You got to study?
I got to study up on some of the tricks that I don't. There's stuff I've seen and I can't remember how to do it. Like, Bobby has a thing that's supposed to help take the shake out of camera.
Yeah.
I remember I played with it once, but it didn't seem to do much for the one I tried it on.
It's slow and it replaces shake. If there's a lot of shake, like on my body cam, it replaces shake with blur.
Oh, okay.
It's a smoother
Yeah.
transition, but it's blurry instead of shaky. I'm like, I don't know. Of course, that was
Then
23. I'm on 25 now. Maybe I should try it down a newer.
then today I wanted to like put an arrow over Elmo's head, and I couldn't figure out how to get the arrow.
Oh,
And I know it's something simple.
yeah. It is. Are you using 25?
Yeah.
It's the one between the transition and the, oh boy, because I'm in the process of, what do you call it, saving. I can't highlight it.
Oh,
Is it the smiley face or is it the stars?
you know, one thing, since I switched to 25, it opens for me all the time now. I'm having trouble with 24.
I'm a little annoyed when I close the program down, it reopens, sometimes twice. I'm like, when I close you, I want you closed. Don't try to reopen on me. Come on, man. You're like, ah. Hey.
So I don't think it's the thing right below transition.
Maybe it's a smiley face. And then once you get in the smiley face, you have to go to the top menu to find the arrows or the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Like I
I'm
swore I
always
looked
right.
there.
I'm always right. I can't do it because I'm saving and it's it's got an hour and 51 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the save. That thing jumps up and down, but 6 hours, so add 1 hour 53. Oh, the voting day is going to be like 12, 18 hours, isn't it? I can't do this for 12 or 18 hours.
Well, if you do that, then it's going to have to be a premiere that you're going to be there for.
I'll start it later in the day. I won't start it at. I was going to start it at 6 in the morning, and I'm thinking about it. Hell, that's 12 hours just till dinner time. Yeah, I'll start it at noon. Yeah. Of course, that means I have to edit the first one over. Okay. I'm all screwed up. Maybe it's a dumb idea because I'm not going to be there the whole day. I'm going to be voting. I'm going to be helping people get to the polls, and I'm going to be taking Holly to an appointment. And then if I have time, I'll be voting again. I'm kidding.
You do you have a list of people, or are you going to be like at a call center type thing? People call and need a ride.
Oh, there's I forget the name of the group. There's a group at church to help people get to doctor's appointments and stuff, and they called out asking for election workers. So I'm on call to that group. 4 years ago, I had 4. I gave 4 rides. And
So, you know,
that was tricky because it was COVID. I had to crack the windows and wear masks. And this time around,
you said about voting again a couple of years ago. I put on Facebook. I said, remember, folks, tomorrow's election day. Vote early and vote often. And some lady posted. She goes, "You know, that's illegal." It's like, I'm like, you know, hey, give me your PayPal. I'll send you $1 so you can go buy a sense of humor. I mean, you know, that phrase is like, you know, 100 years old.
And the person quoted meant vote often, as in every time you can vote, every election day. Was it Kennedy? No. I can't remember who it was, but they didn't mean vote several times in one election day. They meant every time you give the opportunity to vote, vote. Preferably research and vote. And by research, I don't mean watch Fox News and OAN.
I can see him calling up Finkel. Yeah, I need a ride to the voting thing. So they're driving around. He's like, "So who you voting for?" "Well, I'm a Republican." "Oh Lord, I'm about out of gas. You're gonna have to get out."
No, rides to the polls. Rule 1 is whoever they're voting for is private. However, I'm fairly confident anyone from my church they'll be voting the way I would want them to vote. We're a very liberal
Yeah.
church.
I'm just picturing it where that's probably how Biden won. Is all these people like, "Oh, really? Well, you're gonna have to walk back, buddy." I know you wouldn't do that, but I'm just imagining it.
You know, I can remember someone telling me back in the olden days, like the night before election, the party people would like go to bars and set up drinks. And I always thought, why would somebody necessarily stay bought? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you could sit there and take their drinks and stuff and then still go in and go, yeah, I'm not voting for them. But it seemed to, I guess it used to work.
They had, when was it? Right after I got to this area. Was it 2000 or 2004? They had escorts openly advertising. 1 hour free if you vote for this candidate. I'm thinking, how do you know they voted for that candidate?
I know. That'd be like, you know, someone handing you $50.
Yeah.
You know, hey, if you vote for this guy, I'll give you $50. Okay. How do they know what you checked?
Can you believe when I got to this area, when I was looking for work right out of the military, it was suggested I apply with an escort service? I'm like, no, thank you. They don't openly advertise anymore, thank God. City paper, the Washington, D.C. city paper is what they called it. And they had those advertisements there. And they were on some of the local radio stations, too. I'm like, what the hell's going on up there? They cleaned it up somewhat. I mean, I still suspect some of the massage parlors in the area. While I was in line yesterday for the rally, there were some people going down the line. Are you in Maryland? Are you from Maryland? Are you from Maryland? And I realized that everyone has responded, yes. Are you registered to vote? And they're, you know, trying to get them to go register to vote. And I'm thinking, anybody's waiting in this line, if they're not registered to vote, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
But I was preparing my answer. I was going to come back with a sarcastic answer, but they got to the people in front of me and they actually recognize each other as neighbors. And I was going to say, you know, if they said, are you from Maryland? I'll say, no, I know how to drive. But when they were done talking to their neighbors, they looked at me and I think they assumed I was with their neighbors and they didn't even ask me. I'm like, oh, damn it.
That's something I was going to mention to you. Thinking, you know, when that kid interviewed you, you know what? And I realized, you know, when he said about naming 3 things you like about Kamala and stuff like that. And I realized for like the first time in my life, the only thing I could think of was she's not Trump. You know what I mean? It's like usually I know all the issues really well and stuff. And this time it was just like, you know, I'm one of those anybody but people.
I wasn't really prepared to be interviewed with those questions, but I got to thinking about it. That is actually a good answer, I believe. She's not Trump, because I do believe, I'm sorry if anybody listening disagrees, but I do believe Trump, if he's elected into office or gets office, I do believe he will end our Constitution as we know it. And that's the same reason I went for Biden 4 years ago. Trump is, I believe, an existential threat to our way of life, our way of government. But I do believe she will push for a more fair tax system than Trump. And also, it occurs to me, I actually heard this a few weeks ago, but I'm thinking about it, it's actually true. Of all the first-term presidents in the 21st century so far, that's Bush, that's Bush, that's Barack Obama, that's Trump, and that's Biden. If she's elected, the day she steps foot into the Oval Office as president, she'll be stepping in with more experience in civics and government and politics than anybody else, except maybe Joe Biden, because he was a senator for so long.
Mhm.
But she's been a senator. She's been an attorney general. She's been a lawyer. She a district attorney.
She was a prosecutor.
She was prosecutor.
Yeah.
She didn't just step off the billionaire bandwagon, and she didn't get to where she is because her daddy was a vice president and president and director of the CIA, like Bush was.
Yeah. Did Obama, did he even finish his first Senate term?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but one thing that drives me crazy, being one who spent so much time in political forums arguing politics, when Senator Barack Obama spoke at Kerry's nomination at that convention,
Oh, yeah.
all the right-wingers in the forums were saying, gee, I wish they'd put someone like him up for the Democratic Party. I'd vote for him. And just 4 years later, he's running for president, and it was that black guy, that Tiger Woods guy, that communist, that guy with the fake birth certificate.
He was a secret Muslim and an atheist at the same time.
And a secret terrorist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Terrorist.
Remember that? Yep.
I like how they always used to make sure they put his middle name in. Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh, yeah. They made
Yeah.
Accentuate the Hussein.
Barack Hussein Obama.
I always remember somebody saying to me, when it was still before his first term, for that election, someone said, "Oh, he's only half black." And it's like, well, first of all, I'm not voting for him because he's black. And second of all, when did half black ever matter in this? It's like, when did this country go, oh, he's okay, he's half white?
Oh.
It's like somehow they were using that against him, that he wasn't a real black man. It was weird.
Some of the children of Thomas Jefferson weren't even free because of their blackness. I can't remember the math, but they used to say if you have so much percent black, you don't have citizen, full rights as a citizen. I can't remember. Was it 1/10 or 1/5?
Yeah, there was something like that. Of course, I also remember years ago, probably like at least 50 years ago or something, they used to say that if you tested the DNA of Southerners, that most of them, you'd find that they had black ancestors.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I enjoy, I haven't heard it in a while, but back during the Bush years, there was these reports on what politicians had the bluest blood, and by bluest blood they meant closely genetically related to British royalty.
Hmm.
When I first heard that, I'm thinking, why does it matter? We disavowed royalty. 1776, we said no more kings. But in these reports, it came out that Senator Obama and Vice President Cheney not only had the same amount of blue blood, but were actually related, like second or third cousins or something. I can't remember. And Cheney took great offense to that.
It's the first time I ever heard his name pronounced like that.
Cheney.
Yeah, Cheney. That's the first time I ever heard
Yeah.
that said. When you said, I was like, huh? Oh, I know what he's talking about. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah. Cheney.
I say I don't want either one of them.
I call him Dick. Oh, what was that? You ever seen that movie Vice about his life story?
No.
When he was in a first cabinet meeting with Secretary of State Colin Powell, former General Colin Powell. They kind of had barbs because they had differences of opinion about attacking Iraq. And I don't remember who said it what first, but Powell's character says, I don't know, Dick. And then Cheney's response was, well, Colin. I don't know if that's a true part of the story or not, but it was funny to see him exchange that.
Thing I always liked about Cheney was when George W. was nominated the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they always have those like search committees to decide who they wanted to put up for vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who the chairman of the search committee was?
I'm thinking it was Dick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Dick Cheney.
It was Dick Cheney, yeah.
And he was like, you know, I've looked and I've decided there's no one out there better than me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so old. I remember Jimmy Carter. Sorry.
He just turned 100.
Hi, my name's Jimmy. Vote for me in November.
It's funny how Carter became a better president after he was out of office. It's like people didn't have a lot of respect for him, and then later he became like this real statesman and stuff.
You know, it's funny. I didn't really involve myself or even my opinion in politics deeply until 2000 during the Florida fiasco.
Yeah.
But since then, I really pay attention. I have very strong opinions. And it occurs to me that when I was a kid during the Ford Carter I'm losing words here. When Ford and Carter were running against each other, and then when Reagan and Carter were running against each other, and even Reagan and Mondale were running against each other. I have no idea who my father, my stepfather, my grandfather, or my grandmother voted for or even rooted for. And I brought that up with my mom, who thank God, I now know to be a bleeding heart liberal like me. I said, what were Grandpa's skis and Dad's, Ski was my stepfather, what were their politics? She goes, I don't know. I've actually asked Ski before he died, and he said, it's nobody's business but mine. And I'm like, wow. So I try to think of their behaviors and try to guess, and I really cannot guess what their politics were.
That's good.
I think it is good because it wasn't left, right, Republican, Democrat. It was I'm assuming because they kept it close to their chest. Whoever they voted for were the issues of the day, not the party
Yeah.
or the I was too young to vote Carter versus Reagan, but I was cheering on Reagan, and I think I was the second time around I think I voted for him, but by the end of his presidency I really hated him. Not because he was Republican or so-called conservative, but I felt like he let the armed forces down more than once. Everyone talks about, oh, America became great again with Reagan. In fact, that Charlie Daniels man, even did you ever think America would happen again? Or you remember that bullshit? I'm thinking, as I joined the military and I started seeing how things were run, I'm thinking, okay, here's big, bad, bold, tough guy Reagan bringing the Marines to Lebanon. The Marines get bombed in this big hotel. What does he do? He pulls the Marines out, cut and run. The Stark got hit by 2 X-6 missiles by an aircraft who acknowledged that they were approaching a U.S. warship. What did Reagan do? Oh, mate, it's okay. Don't let it happen again. I'm thinking, why does Reagan have such a reputation for being a tough guy? Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Mr. Gorbachev had already decided to tear down the wall when he said that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, hold on now.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had us scared to death. As a soldier at Fort Campbell, I was scared to death that Bill Clinton might be president. Didn't take long after Bill Clinton was elected and became president, I noticed things started getting better. Rules of engagement. First rule of engagement, you always have the right to defend yourself, your unit, and innocent civilians in your sector. And then the rules of engagement were built from there. I'm like, wow. Under Reagan, when we went to the Persian Gulf, rules of engagement. Do not fire until fired upon. When fired upon, request permission from Comm East Force. Comm East Force would request permission of Comm Sink Land Fleet. Comm Sink Land Fleet would request permission of Joint Chiefs of Staff. Joint Chiefs of Staff would request permission of Secretary of Defense. Secretary of Defense would request permission of POTUS, President of the United States. If POTUS gives permission, it would go back down through that same channel. And then comes along so-called weakling Clinton. First rule of engagement, you always have the right to defend yourself, your unit, and civilians in your sector. That is huge difference. Ronald Reagan didn't even know the Stark got hit until 37 sailors were already dead. Oh, and a few days later, the rules of engagement did change. And I'm probably in trouble because on our trip back to Hornport, they started briefing us on how to handle the press. We were told we cannot talk about the rules of engagement before or after the Stark incident. Every time I was briefed on how to handle press if asked in the Clinton administration was you can discuss the general rules of engagement, like you have the right to defend yourself, your unit, and civilians in your sector, and usually the rest of the rules of engagement. I'm like, yeah, Reagan was a tough guy? Yeah, not so much. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. I'm ranting.
Oh, I didn't know any of this. I was just listening. I was listening, being interested.
I was looking at Steve's comment and trying to.
Oh,
I don't think Carter went to war with anybody, did he?
Carter did not go to war. He tried a rescue mission.
Yeah.
It didn't work out so well. Of course, they blamed the president. Yeah, I get it. The buck stops here. But what the DOD tried to do is mix forces that weren't trained to work together. It was a combined force of Air Force, Army, Marines, and Navy, and it really flubbed. It died in the desert. They were going to go into Tehran and rescue the hostages, and it totally failed. But I don't think he took us to a. When you say war, I know Congress hasn't declared war since World War II, since the wake of Pearl Harbor, but we've been in many conflicts directed by presidents. And
by the way, Steve, those people over there like to say there was no war under Trump. Trump is the first president that didn't have. We were in Afghanistan through his whole administration. They say there was no war. He was at war the entire time because what do they think that we had the war during the Obama years and then Afghanistan just gave up for 4 years and then started again when Biden came in?
So that's what I thought. Trump was still in war, and then they complained about how Biden got him out.
Yeah, except that it was Trump that made the deal with the Taliban and that for the pullout. And Biden actually delayed it by a couple of months because things weren't ready, but they blame it all on Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But Biden took a lot of the blame for slowing down and making a little more smoothly Trump's plan to pull out. When Biden took office, the biggest airport, U.S. military air base, was it Basra?
I don't remember.
It was already 360 degrees surrounded by Taliban or Taliban allies. There was no land route in and out of the biggest military base. The Taliban, all those prisoners were already released and already back in power by the time Joe Biden could have kept us in Afghanistan, but what was the point after over 2 decades?
Yeah, really.
And it would have been a lot bloodier because now we would have to fight to gain back the ground that was receded during the Trump administration. Yes, Trump backed us out of downsized Afghanistan big time, but that's what caused the messiness we saw at the very end. Not unlike the messiness we saw at the end of Vietnam.
Yeah, I've often thought that too.
Ain't that why all that equipment is over there because of him too? Trump before Biden took over? Sorry, Muckster.
When Biden took over, there was a lot of equipment at that air base.
But it was from where Trump was still doing the war.
Yeah, it was already signed over to the Afghani government that we recognized.
And because of the fast pullout, Biden had to leave a lot of that stuff over there.
Yeah. It was left to that government, but that government was.
But it wasn't all on Biden, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I often wonder if things would have gone differently if Bush's people hadn't dragged us into Iraq. But I'm not sure because, I mean, the Russians couldn't do anything with Afghanistan either. I think I'm not sure. Even if we had to concentrate it just on Afghanistan, if things would have came out much different.
Yeah, I am glad that Saddam Hussein is dead, and I'm glad there are people like Izzy who are free now because of that. But we did go into Iraq unnecessarily and at the wrong time.
Yeah, false pretense.
When we went into Iraq, we already had Hussein boxed in. 2/3 of the country was under a U.S. enforced no-fly zone, and they had no way to strike out, to lash out. And when we decided to do it, Turkey wouldn't allow us to use their forces or come in from their side of the border. which really crippled our ability to do an effective job in Iraq. Not to mention that we were supposed to be focused on ending the Taliban and Al Qaeda that was in Afghanistan at the time. We had just been attacked by Al Qaeda, trained in Afghanistan under the Taliban. At that point of Afghanistan, we needed to focus on Afghanistan. We were doing fine keeping Hussein boxed in. So part of the draw on of Afghanistan was doing a two-front war, and the second front was not per military doctrine. You might remember one of the first prisoner of war situations was a young PFC on a log pack. A female PSC on a log pack. The reason she was taken prisoner in the first place, she was a non-combatant, was because we forgot our military doctrine and drove so fast and far into Iraq unsupported that here we have these logistics trucks going back and forth between protected areas, and she's out there in the open unprotected. Totally unfucking necessary. She turned out she was okay. There was a rescue mission and they actually got her out. But yeah, I'm all over the place tonight, aren't I?
So I hadn't seen anything about that. Steve said they're opening up old airfields in the Pacific. I would guess, without knowing anything about it, that that's probably in response to China trying to take over big parts of the Pacific.
That there is a coldening, with the China front, and you guys are probably very aware of it. New Zealand and Australia.
You knew what I meant by Korg operations, didn't you? When I mentioned that last night.
Korg operations.
CORG. Korg.
No, what's Korg?
Basically, they've been doing what they call their drills, not exercises. There's supposed to be 4 military helicopters that lands on this certain different parts of the White House concrete or blacktop area. Then there's 4 police department like Metropolitan Police that go over and they land too, and they're taking out picking up key people out of the White House, doing some kind of thing, and they're doing it in China too. The same operations.
Interesting. So they're drilling on evacuating the White House.
Yeah, somebody did a recording on it, and there's a channel that's called KLW News, and they've been watching the flight tracker and stuff, and they've been watching the planes that the Flight 24 tracker picks up going over in China and Russia and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I figured you might know about it, so I figured I'd share it with you.
I'm unfamiliar with rehearsals, drills to evacuate the White House, and now that I'm hearing about it, I wonder, is it in preparation for a potential attack from China or Russia?
That's what I'm wondering too.
Or is it in preparation for potential attack from,
I think, a nuke? Maybe.
From Trump's people when they lose the election?
I didn't think about that.
I remember seeing quite a while ago that Marine One is always supposed to be able to get to the White House. It's like within like 3 minutes or something like that. That, they're like always supposed to be ready. That if the president says get Marine One here, it's supposed to be there like now. So I imagine it's kind of an extension of that.
Yeah. Now, I've been told, I've never seen it. Never seen it in movies. I've never seen it in news. I've never seen it in real life. And I see a lot of helicopters. You know me, every time I hear a helicopter, I look up at it. If I have a camera, I take a picture of it. Allegedly, Marine Corps One has 2 helicopters that travel with it that look just like it.
Yeah.
And as they move, they do this the shell game thing. So you never can tell which one may have the president or vice president in it. But having heard that story, every time I hear a helicopter, I never see 3 Marine Corps One style helicopters traveling together. Sometimes I see 4 Blackhawks or 2 Hueys, but I've never seen the magic number 3. And that, what kind of helicopters is Marine Corps One? I guess I have to Google it. I'm not sure, but every now and then we see a Marine helicopter. Like, is that Marine Corps One? And then we're like, no, there's only one of them. It can't be. There's supposed to be 3. I don't know. Maybe the story I heard is BS. I don't know.
I remember when George W. visited Shanksville. That's where the 9/11 plane went down.
Yeah.
And I was watching the news, and they said about he landed in Air Force One, and I called the news station, and I said that it's not Air Force One. The helicopter is Marine One. And the lady who answered the phone said, "Yeah, you're the 3rd call we got."
Yeah. But yeah, Trump never took us to war. But then again, neither did Carter. Nixon pulled us out of Vietnam after many years of the quagmire in Vietnam. And the last thing anybody in America wanted during the Carter administration was another war. Iraq ended and Afghanistan was drawing down during Trump. The last thing anybody wanted in America after 20 years of war was more war. Give it 4, 6, maybe 8 years. Yeah, America will be at it again, no matter who's president. I don't think we can credit Trump for not attacking anyone or being involved in anyone being attacked. On the contrary, I'd say Trump has made us a little bit weaker, like when he pulled out of supporting our allies, the Kurdish allies in Syria.
Yeah.
Left them hanging high and dry. They're never going to trust America again. We've lost a very important ally there. The way we pulled out of Afghanistan, yeah, everyone blames Biden because of the timeline. But the truth is the Taliban is in power in Afghanistan, and they're just as evil as they were before 9/11. That's because of Trump. Does pulling out in a way mean we're anti-war? No, I think most of it's timing. I think Putin was going to attack Ukraine when he did either way, because Putin failed to get his puppet in Ukraine. He much would have rathered his puppet won, but that comedian won, surprising everyone. So plan B was attack. And Biden warned us that Putin was about to attack Ukraine. He was getting the briefings, the same briefings that Trump got when he won the election and before he stepped into office. We have 17 intelligence agencies. They're briefing him. Putin's about to strike. Putin's about to strike. And the Trump people say no. Fox News would say no. Putin would say no. And then when it happened, no one called out the naysayers. Look, he did it. Biden said he was going to do it. No, he did it, and they're all changing the narrative. Well, he did it because Biden won the election. No, he did it because Zelensky won the election, not the puppet. Yeah, that's my opinion. I can't prove it. It is the Chinese, as from the Pacific, you can come up behind China, and the Chinese are building an airbase. Yep, they're not just building air bases, they're building artificial islands. Yeah. I think they're watching Ukraine very, very closely. I think the success or failure of Ukraine will dictate to the Chinese whether or not they take Taiwan by force. I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep, if we don't support Ukraine, they'll say, "Oh well, they won't have the balls to come over here either."
I think what's changed in China since World War II is before World War II, they were isolationists, like Trump wants us to be now. And now they're not isolationists. Now they want more. They need a little elbow room,
But that one time I was over at Nikki and Cliff's on one of their open panels,
Mm-hmm.
and the one guy in there, I forget how, was saying something like about the military and that, and he thinks that we should have no military whatsoever.
What?
And I said, well, I guess we should all start learning to speak Chinese then.
Who said we should have no military?
I'm not sure. It might have been that Minnesota black robe guy that wrote it.
I would disagree with that. I would agree if somebody said we don't need a military that's 10 times more powerful than the next military. I do believe that's true, but I think we're good with 5 times more powerful.
And I can see people arguing about not having all the foreign bases and stuff, although I don't necessarily agree with that argument, but to just say, oh yeah, we should just totally get rid of the military. And then the people on his side were arguing about, because I think even Cliff said about, oh, do you know how many Americans have guns and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, your shotguns and rifles are really going to do good against, Chinese tanks.
Drones, tanks, jets. Yeah. I always like to argue with the right to bear arms without limits people. I'm like, so you think it's okay to have a handgun? Yeah. You think it's okay to have a AR-15? Yeah. Why? So you can defend yourself from a tyrannical government. Okay, so you think.
I think you just went dead. Is it me or did we lose Finkel? Carrie, you're muted.
I'm giving him CPR. All right. I don't think it's working. Let me try tongue. That usually wakes up anybody.
I like that too. Yep, there he went. But I was like that too. What he was talking about when people say about, oh, we want them to defend ourselves against our own government. It's like, yeah, you're going to be able to take on the United States Marines. It's like.
There's people that I know that are veterans. There's one that's disgruntled about it. He's like, they lied to us about what we're fighting for, and we're fighting for the banks.
Yeah.
For whatever, some type of, that I guess if they don't fight, it puts rich people in danger or something, or money wise or something. I don't know the whole story because I've never been in that predicament. And then there's some people that are like, they're good that they fought for their country. That's what they understood what they fought for.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The soldiers are fighting for the right reason.
Yeah.
The people that send them there aren't necessarily sending them for the right reason.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And, Steve, I've sometimes thought, like when we attacked Panama and Grenada and little places like that, I sometimes wonder, kind of along the lines of what you're saying, is if we go for a while without any kind of conflict, if they look for something so they can have like basic little tune-up games, you know what I mean? Because if your military doesn't fight anybody for a while, you kind of forget how. So I often wondered if they, drum up little conflicts like that just so they can, almost like a training exercise. Yeah, I don't know.
I was watching a YouTube video where they said back years ago they put a bunch of nuclear weapons like in around the center of America and stuff to keep, because if they go, the other countries was to shoot nukes or something our way, they would be aiming for the main pile there in the middle of of America and not worry about
Yeah.
blowing up the White House and stuff like that, because they'd be more worried about trying to take out our artillery or whatever, the nukes.
I always thought it was the other way around, is that they would put all those missile silos out in like Nebraska and stuff like that because they figured any if and it was always about the Russians. If the
Yeah.
Russians did a first attack, that they would first go for the city. So they put the silos out in the remote areas so they'd be safe.
Oh, okay.
Do you know it used to be this? This is going back to like, I'm not sure when they stopped doing it, but in the 70s, I knew a guy who was in the air reserves, Air Force reserves, and he flew on those tankers, that do the midair fueling.
Yeah.
And they used to, at the time, they had a mobile command center that was always up in the air. That they could actually run a war from that plane. So it's like if the Russians attacked and took out the bases,
Yeah.
that plane was always up in the air, and of course, then one would be coming down, the next one would take over. But because I remember that guy, his like claim to fame at the time is they once got to refuel that plane. I forget what they used to call it. I remember the other thing he told me was that if there had been a war, and at the time it was all about those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Now it would be different, but and they used to, and they depended on bombers too,
Yeah.
And he said, if we went to war like that, that the job of those guys on those tankers, they would be out there like in the Atlantic to refuel the bombers. And if the bomber needed all the fuel they had, those tankers, they could flip a switch and actually pump from their own tanks. That those guys knew that if it was necessary, they would give all their fuel to the bombers and then they'd have to ditch in the ocean. Can you imagine? It's kind of like when Fink was talking about the three helicopters.
Yeah.
And again, this is from like watching a movie. I remember that one movie, London Falling. Did you ever see that one? It was a sequel. Remember they had like the White House down and that, but there's like, there had the three helicopters and the terrorists were shooting ground terror missiles. Like the one helicopter went in front of the missile to protect the president's helicopter, and that kind of stuff. That's just amazing to think that you could have the mindset to jump in front of the bullet like that.
Yeah. Yeah, most of us would be like, oh, move out of the way. Now, our kids would be a different story.
Yeah.
But then there's some parents that are so hardcore in religion, they would be like, let it happen. So just there's a percentage of people that would step in front of a bullet or for a president. It just depends. But yeah, most people be like, I don't know if I want to do that, but
I remember a little while back seeing a thing on Facebook where they had like asked like mothers about that, and I remember they should, the one mother was like, when they asked about like jumping in front of the bullet or whatever, and she was like, well, it depends on this and it depends on that. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? I I like to think I would jump in front of the bullet for somebody else's kid, not just, but
Yeah.
especially your own kid. How could you say, I don't know if I would do that? No.
I mean, it ain't like you practice it every day, like do training to condition yourself to do
Yeah.
that. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
the
last
kind-
minute decision.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing you don't know until it happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully it never happens, but you don't know how you're going to act in a lot of situations. You might grab the kid and hold him in front of you.
Yeah. If like Deadpool did his good pull or nice pull. You're gonna live. You're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah. You effing killed him. But I got these golden caliber guns.
Yeah.
He really put his life on the line and saved him.
Says in Revelation of the end time, Israel will be fighting on our borders. And people have interpreted the end times for decades. This is all the signs, all the signs.
Well, I know this time it says something about the Euphrates River will dry up, and there's been videos about it drying up. So but back then, a lot of people didn't know a lot about the Bible and thought Jesus was coming back. That's stories I remember. Do you remember that guy that wrote the book about Jesus coming back? I think in the 90s or something. He would read one page that was upright, then you had to turn the book around and read the other page.
No.
Yeah, my two aunts end up going to church because they thought this guy was predicting the end of the world, and they started living right for God. And then they quit when Jesus didn't come back.
I remember years ago, 70s or 80s, I think probably like in the 80s, there was that one TV preacher. Seems like was he down in Louisiana or something? But anyway.
Jimmy Swaggart.
But was he the one, he had like some kind of a tower or something, but he told his people, and he like went up into his tower. He said God had come to him and told him that he needed to raise, and I forget what it was, like $10 million or whatever by the end of the month. And they came up short, and he said, well, God gave him another month.
The one you're talking about is the one that was with the Playboy bunny, right?
Oh, no, you think Jim Baker?
No, Jimmy Swaggart.
Okay, because remember there was that.
Yeah, Jimmy Swaggart's in Louisiana.
Tammy, the one that his wife was Tammy Faye.
Yeah, that was Baker. PTL.
Okay.
Yeah, praise the Lord. That was their program. They had this big amusement park, and his wife was all painted up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tammy Faye Baker.
I remember when I was going to college, there was a TV preacher in Ohio. I can't remember his name. But the one guy who was the technician.
Oral Roberts?
No, it wasn't Oral Roberts. The guy who was the technician where I worked, he decided to go, and he got a job as a TV technician for that guy. And he came back after a month or so, because he found out that when you went to work there, seems I'm not sure, but it seems like it might have been a guy that had like the Crystal Palace or something like that. But anyway, they expected when you worked there that you worked 40 hours for pay and another 20 hours for Jesus.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
he didn't like that too much.
Yeah, I remember. See, Jimmy Swagger. Then there was Jim and Tammy, or Jim Baker, Tammy, and then there was
Yeah, Jim and
the TBN, which was Paul Crouch and Jan Crouch, which they resembled Jim and Tammy Baker.
Or Roberts was the one that was always healing people, right? Heal.
And Billy Graham was what, the United States or something preacher or whatever.
Yeah, he was always advising presidents and that.
And then there was another
I was surprised. This is a few months ago. YouTube, I saw a video. It was an old one with Billy Graham, and I forget exactly what it said, but it basically was like, "What color was Jesus?"
Uh-huh.
And I thought, boy, this will be good,
Yeah.
And it actually surprised me. And this was from like way back, 60s or 70s or something.
Uh-huh.
And he actually said, like, well, you do realize that Jesus would have had brown skin, And I was surprised to see him, give such a liberal viewpoint on it.
Yeah, there's a guy on
Who's the
YouTube.
one?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think of the one that had a college named after him.
There's I know
Is that
Oral
it?
Roberts University.
Yeah, that might be who I was thinking of.
And I'm still racking my brain on who's in Ohio or whatever. I can't think of his name for nothing. But did you Jim Baker's still trying to preach? He's selling edible. Yeah. And Jimmy Swaggart, he's got his own network now. God, he's got but he's getting around. And then trying to think, Peter Popoff was the newest one, the one with the miracle water. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He'll send a piece of gum in the middle.
I didn't know the name, but I've seen the thing with the miracle water.
Yeah, Peter Popoff.
Who's the one I'm trying to think of? I think they have a college too, and it's like this Falwell, Jerry Falwell.
You owe me a Coke.
I always remember way back seeing a thing on. It was an ad in the TV Guide, and it was like, oh, what they call? I forgot what he called his group. I don't think it was the Silent Majority. It was something, but anyway, it was like their 10 Commandments,
Mm-hmm.
And he would say, it was like, we believe this, and then he'd have a Bible verse, that would, it would say, John 3:18 or whatever next to it. So one of the things he had, it was like his 7th commandment was that they didn't believe the church should have to pay taxes. And it had the annotation next to it. Now, most people would just look at that and just go, oh, okay, take it, on faith. But I grabbed the Gideon Bible that I had there that somebody had left at the door for the place that I worked in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up the part that they were quoting saying that they believed the church shouldn't have to pay taxes. And the thing they used was where it said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And I thought, that's in total opposite of what you're saying. That's like Jesus was saying to him, yeah, give Caesar his money. That's.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that at first, because there's like, when I had that one procedure I was telling your sister about, the spine cath, I tried to do a survey job, sit and you just talk to people about if they go to the hospital or whatever. And I did a survey about churches or something. And all I remember is people said that the churches in Louisville, whatever, that the houses or something that they lived in, they didn't have to pay taxes because they gave their house to the church. So the church owns it. So they live there tax free. I can't remember what the question was about, but I know that however it was brought up is they're like, yeah, the church, buys up, we give our homes to the churches and they let us stay in them and we don't have to pay taxes. And that was back in 2000. Yeah. Back in late 2002, early 2003. But that blew my mind. I'm like, I must be going to the wrong church.
I was surprised a couple of years ago. I saw a thing that Italy, of all places, churches pay taxes. And Italy, I mean, that's ground central for the Catholic Church. You would think if any place gave churches a break, but no.
Yeah,
and I'm not arguing for making churches start paying. I don't know.
Yeah. You're just pointing out where it says we're rendered to Caesar's what's Caesar and what's God's, and
Yeah, if you're going to use the Bible, use it correctly, because people like me will check you on it.
Yeah, if you remember Kenneth Copeland, he was one of the preachers that said wanted everybody to give to him to get a airplane because he didn't want to fly with people.
Yeah, I can remember one of those preachers saying, that God wanted him to have 2 BMWs.
Yeah.
When I lived in Pittsburgh, there was a guy that was on late night TV. And I remember he was from out of Los Angeles. And he wore a cowboy hat. And I used to find him very entertaining. He was a TV preacher. He was small time, but that was back when cable was new. So
yeah,
they were, all kind of people could get on. But anyway, I just remember the one night him saying, he was talking about people sending in money, and he says, how do you expect us to beat Satan if you won't send in your money?
Yeah.
I thought, okay. Not sure I quite see that, but.
And then you got Benny Hinn, that guy that does miracles or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. If nobody believes the Bible, it even tells you about people like you. That's where grifting comes from. They started that stuff on television. Give me your, send me this and God will multiply it to you. And you hear people dying of cancer sending their last bit of money to these people, and they end up dying. They don't share the outcome of the story of these people that's, I've donated for years and years. And
I remember I used to, a lot of times I'd watch the end of the 700 Club.
Oh, yeah.
I'd get up and, because it was like on right before Price is Right. And I used to watch Price is Right.
And he's still alive, Pat Robertson.
But last I saw, he was getting pretty senile because you could tell that the people that were on with him were sort of like trying to keep him from saying much. But I can remember them sitting there doing this thing where they'd go, oh, and somebody right now has had their back pain go away, and somebody else has been having this problem.
And put their hand on the TV.
Yeah. And it's like people would sit there and believe that,
I did believe that at one time years ago.
Yeah.
But I wasn't giving them money. That's probably why I didn't get rich.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine had that problem where found out his mother was sending checks to some TV preacher, and you know, she was just living off a small Social Security, and there she is sending hundreds of dollars.
We're supposed to get an increase next year, but you hear them talking about how low Social Security and stuff is. I don't know if you get Social Security, but if you do, you probably got the same letter or whatever they send you in the email or something.
I hardly ever read my mail, so I might have got it, but I hardly ever open stuff.
I don't know how much of an increase, but
well, thing they do screws up a lot of people is they'll raise the Social Security, but then they'll also raise how much you have to pay for the Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're making more money now, so you can afford more for Medicare. So it just kind of takes away what your increase.
Yeah, we get $30 food stamps, and Social Security still, or no, Medicare doesn't. They don't take out that whatever yet. They did when we from before 2016. They were taking out like 150 out of my check.
Yeah, that's what somebody was telling me, that they went for food stamps and they said they told them could get like $12. He's like, well, what's $12? Well, what I would do is I would just like save it up for like 10 months and then go. And it's like, I always remember when I came home from Pittsburgh the one time and my mother had an appointment. She was getting food stamps and stuff, and it was time to, and I remember at the time, the people in the one office, I just remember they were like really rude, you know?
Yeah.
They treated people like crap. But I can remember I took my mother down to her appointment, and she had to bring in, like, you know, proof of income, of course, and all her utility bills and stuff like that, even though they wouldn't use those things, you know, for what you they wouldn't say, oh, if you're paying this much on electricity, we'll give you more money or whatever.
Yeah.
But and the lady was just like really rude. And then it was like, you know, like you say, it was like for $20 or something. And I said to my mother, I said, is it really worth it to go through all this for a lousy $20? You know?
It was like that in Indiana. I vaguely remember going, and they just make you feel like you're a piece of garbage. And see, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, so he got to where he couldn't even work. And they didn't.
Well, that's like at the time. Yeah, at the time, it was just my mother and my sister at home. So she was a little desperate. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a lot of homeless people out there that legitimately loses everything and not even on drugs or alcohol. But it's hard to you know, actually know, because so many people are just do it to be doing, or they're messed up, or like there's a in Somerset, Kentucky, they're passing the thing now for panhandlers, where they're not allowed to be certain places now.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten so bad.
Except Supreme Court said that that's freedom of speech.
Yeah, they'll have to fight it because.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. There's, you know, they can't fight it. You know, that's why I like what Jeff Gray does, because he actually goes and fights it whenever they come and tell him that he can't be doing. Because, you know, I mean, if you're homeless, how are you going to fight it? You're not going to find a lawyer who will take up the case.
I know one of the things they're trying, part of that, I don't know if it's a bill or what it is. I just read bits and pieces, but I know like panhandlers walking in traffic. Now that's about stupid. You're going to get hit.
Well, yeah, they do. Like there's a difference between like panhandling and aggressive panhandling.
Yeah.
and they can stop you from aggressive panhandling where you're, really bothering people and stuff. But if
Yeah.
you're just out there like saying, "Hey, buddy, you got a buck or whatever," yeah, that's free speech.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like some of those places where they pass laws where you're not allowed to like hand out bottles of water at the polling places. When people would be standing in line, you couldn't. It's like, since when is it wrong to give somebody food and water?
Yeah.
They've done that in places too where it was illegal to give homeless people
Yep.
food.
I remember that.
And I remember when I saw, it was like, I don't know if it was Miami. I remember it was somewhere in Florida that I first saw that, and I just thought, God, I wish I had the money. I'd love to just like get some friends and like a food truck and drive down there and just go
Yeah.
to an encampment and start handing out food and dare them to arrest me,
Yeah, it's bad in
'Cause
Florida and Tampa. That sounds like a really
I
good
read,
idea.
yeah.
Now, there's people that do YouTube, but I don't know if they're doing it for just clicks and views or if they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
That guy I liked that Finkel did a couple videos with, Mr. Nice Guy, Rich in upstate New York. He did a series on the way Atlantic City is treating the homeless down on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And it's just, they've made it illegal to be sleeping in public and stuff. It's like, they don't say it's anti-homeless, but basically that's what all the laws are aimed at. And I mean, they're people,
Yeah. You're human beings.
Yeah. And the same people that push that kind of stuff are so often the ones that say that this is a Christian country.
Yep.
Anyway. Well, I'm not sure if even Steve is with us anymore.
I got to take my son to the doctor at 9, my middle son, and then take him to school.
It seems like he's got doctor's appointments pretty much every day for one or the other of us.
This first time in a long time I ever felt like actually getting on here and talking. I just hadn't been feeling very well. I mean, we were talking in the waiting room with this lady. She showed me a picture. Her husband had already had a pump implanted, and while he was mowing his yard, that somehow the mower flipped and he fell and the mower landed on him, and they had their mail held for like one more day. But for some reason, the mail lady thought, well, I see the gate open, I'll go ahead and just put their mail in there. And she heard somebody hollering, and she's like, I hear you, but I don't know where you are. And if it hadn't been for that mail lady, her husband would have died. He's like, God, if you can't send me anybody or anything, if you could just send me an angel, I'd appreciate it. And that mail lady that wasn't even supposed to be there happened to just show up. And it took that mower, it crushed his spleen and all that, and 36 hours later he got to walk out of the hospital. And I was like, wow. But yeah, it took them like over an hour because they were so short-handed and the ledge was so far down. The sheriff and some of the EMS workers had to get on their butts and slide down in the grass and dirt to get to him, and they had to call a tow or something and get that mower off of him because they couldn't get it off of him. But he survived. But luckily, it didn't bust his pump, because that's something they're always afraid of. Which, I told him too. I said, I heard a story of a guy that he got to where he could go back to work. I don't know what kind of insurance he had with being an electrician, but he was on a pole, working on a pole, and for some reason his belt or something come loose and he fell and landed right on his pump, and it busted, and the medicine killed him. So that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy was really lucky. She got to have her husband survive all that because he told her, he says, I was about ready just to give up. But it was like 5 minutes after he said that prayer, that's when that mail lady showed up. And she wasn't supposed to till the next day.
Yeah, that is something.
But yeah, that picture was horrible. He was on his face and stomach and everything. And I mean, it was one of them big old riding mowers. And luckily, I was like, surely the thing shut off. She said, yeah, the blades and everything shut off when it fell. She said if he had to use that other mower, he would have been dead because the blades don't shut off on the other mower, but this mower, the blades shut off. Because
Well,
I know a janitor where we had at our school, he was mowing and went off on the side and had a John Deere mower and it killed him instantly. They called him Woody, is what his nickname was, Woody.
that's I had a friend of a friend that was out mowing the field of the house that they had just bought. And the tractor rolled over and killed him. And it was 2 weeks before he was getting married.
Oh, wow.
It was, the house they had bought for to live in, and that after they got married, and he was out there by himself doing it. The tractor rolled over on him. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'm going to shut down. It's been over 2.5 hours, and
Well, I was happy to get up here and join you all and enjoyed talking.
I think we had a pretty good conversation tonight.
Yeah. And your sister's really nice.
Yeah, don't tell her that.
Okay, I won't. Well, thank you for letting me come up. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's still listening, but thanks for stopping in too.
Oh, you're welcome. You have a good one.
Maybe see you tomorrow. I don't know. I'm trying to.
I'll be
do
watching.
it more often.
Do you? I try to make sure and watch. If I don't see you on, I'm usually watching other stuff, being nosy. Getting
that's a lot of time. A lot of times I don't see like notifications and stuff too. Oh.
Well, where I hit the bell, I get notifications because usually people don't hit the bell, but Finkel's
Look what
back.
just happened.
Wow.
Did you figure out what happened, Finkel?
No, we just unplugged everything twice and plugged it back in twice. And then I cussed at it and it came back up.
You know what gets me about mine is a lot of times, like the internet will go and I have to restart my computer. I can see it restarting the router, but it doesn't seem like the computer should need to restart. But there's been times where it's like, man, it's still not back. It's still not back. And I restart the computer and that's what it took.
All right. Well, it dampens my spiritual condition, man. It ungrooves my grooviness. It makes me mad. And then on top of it, I realized I forgot to pillage.
Yeah, I done took my night medicine about 5 o'clock.
Drugs.
Fenofibrate, generic for Pepsi, which is famotidine, and a half of a metoprolol.
Metropolo?
Yeah, they call it metoprolol or something.
I always say, I pronounce it metropolo. I'm not sure. Or it could be metropolo. I don't know.
I used to be on that.
I forget.
I'm cardio laugh out loud now.
But yeah, I'm fully
I,
back. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I forget to take my early pills. A lot of times I'll be sitting here, it'll be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll go, ooh, I never took those this morning.
Yeah, I had to make a choice to step away from and I'll call it, you all know what I'm talking about, the Astrodome.
Yeah.
Because the Kentucky laws, I mean, they were already, doing the best they could. And so I had to just sway back over to like I said, the pain pump. So I think they've got it just about just right, because I would have been hurting and just chatting in the chat. So I'm not on the other parts, the oral parts. I'm on strictly the pump now.
I had an interesting thing with pills. Years ago, when I had my massive heart attack that turned out to be a strained muscle, they found out that I had what they call AFib. And so they started giving me blood thinners then. I was on them for years, and just like about a year or so ago, I had a nurse come here I'd never seen before. And, she wanted to, I hate when it's like they want to go through the pill list and all this stuff. It's like nothing changes. I don't want to do this but anyway, she said about, I see you're on Eliquis. And she said, did they ever tell you that if you ever fall and hit your head to go to the emergency room, or even if you don't think you were hurt? I was like, no. Because you could easily get a brain bleed if you're on a blood thinner. And it's like, well, geez, it'd been nice if somebody had told me that, 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. Wow, 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot when you mentioned about home health or whatever. I forgot I had a hospital bed, and I did have a nurse that come out during the first part of my injury. I forgot all about that.
We have this very expensive healthcare system, and they still get it wrong. That's one of my mom's health scares when I was up there, giving her medicines that's on the chart as being incompatible.
See, Florida, everything health-wise was paid for. I was going to get my neck surgery and everything, but now that I'm here, I can't even get that. I have to just focus on what's the worst going on with my body. I mean, my right hand right here, it's so bad numb it ain't even funny. And that was from the car wreck. And then another car wreck 2 years later after that.
You shouldn't do that.
They wouldn't even. Well, the first one was an 18-year-old pulled out in front of me, and the second one, the guy just got off work and he admitted, he said, I was ready to get off work in a hurry to get me a beer. He said it right in front of the cop. He tore up my wheelchair lift, and his insurance, it was a pain in the butt, but they paid for it. Me another one. But the only problem I got, Morgan & Morgan, I don't even like Morgan & Morgan. They just wouldn't fight for me because where I had pre-existing condition and I already had a pain pump that person's insurance could throw that in their face. So I didn't get a very big settlement. Now my wife, she got whatever they topped off was $50,000. So that all the money came out of that $50,000. She only got like 25. And she still had to pay Morgan & Morgan, even though she dropped them for another attorney. They wanted $5,000.
Yeah, two scams: our medical system and our legal system. Right up there with our insurance system. They're all scams.
Have you ever tried the Jardiance, that one-a-day pill for diabetes?
No, I'm on. It's funny. I'm on something called Farxiga, and I don't know why. Cardiologist put me on it, and after blood testing me, that nothing says anything wrong with my kidneys.
Yeah.
But I did a commercial for Parkziga one day, and it's for people they're close to being on dialysis. I'm like, not close to being on dialysis. Why am I taking this? Because the cardiologist says so. That's why. All right. No, don't need a Viagra right now. Monday. What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah. Well, it should be Thursday now.
Tuesday. I just realized I didn't take any of my Wednesday pills.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting since my I chose the like I said, the pump. I used to remember all my medicines morning and night, but where that other part I done away with that, I keep forgetting to take my medicine. I'm starting to get back into, my other medicines like a Revistatin or something, and then that other half of the metoprolol, and then I think I got one that and the Jardiance, yeah. And that stupid commercials in my head. It's like a little pill that tells a story or something. That Jardiance commercial.
Oh, not familiar with that one.
Yeah.
I think, I think Revistatin is the one.
Yeah.
Revistatin is the one that they put me on the foot. It was like I get a call from this nurse saying she's with whatever unit, and that I should be getting the Revistatin. And I was like, yeah, okay, because I don't have any copay. And I thought about it afterwards, and I never did take it because I had a doctor's appointment coming up in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her about it. I said, why would they want me to start taking this when my cholesterol is always really good?
Yeah.
And she looked at my labs and she goes, actually, this could actually be bad for you because it would make your cholesterol too low.
Yeah.
Hey, money. But it's like, I forget what it was. It was like, the nurse was like from the whatever, I don't think it was cardiac or something. It was like, the group. I think it was diabetes group.
Yeah.
And I said to my doctor, I said, yeah, that just sounds like something, another way of trying to charge insurance. And she didn't say anything, but she sort of gave me a look like, yeah.
Yeah, mine is like $450. I don't think I get anything on the metoprolol, but I think I do on the Revistatin, and Jardiance is $11.20. I think fenofibrate, no copay on it, and I think there's $450 on the Pepsid, which is famotidine. And then I do have Nexium because I used to have really bad heartburn, but I haven't been taking no Nexium, which is generic for something that starts with an E. But I wouldn't have thought I'd be taking this stuff at 48 years old, at least those types of medications.
So how are you doing tonight, Money?
Talking about old people.
Money.
Yeah, I had bad elbow problem on my left, but it's quit now. It's like, I guess you'd call it tennis elbow, or it feels like your elbow's coming apart. That hurts. That happens to your elbow. I'm not on the YouTube side, so I don't know how many's watching. I'm thinking
Well, they
about checking.
claim to.
I was going to say, I was just thinking about that OBS. People act like, but it won't work with Android. You have to use Microsoft or Apple or something.
Mm. Yeah, they say it's more complicated to learn, but then when you do, that it has more functions or something.
Huh.
I always wonder how many admins you're allowed to have with it and stuff.
I seen a video on it, but I didn't pay much attention.
Oh, how long have I been on mute?
Oh, sorry
it's
for
been a while.
Oh, okay. Did you hear the part where I was on Rachel Ghost's panel this morning?
No.
Okay. She's using something called Restream, and it looks similar to StreamYard, but the chat is random. It can show something an hour ago, and then something 5 minutes ago, and then something 20 minutes ago. I'm like, what's up with this chat? And she says, you just have to go to the YouTube. I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's a feature in there somewhere that makes it more timeline. All right.
The problem is we finally just learned how to use StreamYard.
Yeah. I think we expire on January 1 or somewhere in January.
That sounds right.
We've put too much effort into it to not renew it.
Yeah, but with them upping the price so much, man.
Yeah, they know they got you, and especially when you have 10 seats and you build parameters for each seat holder. It's like now you've got the effort in it. You have to buy a new subscription.
Yeah, you get liking something and then they raise the prices on you.
Yeah. Someone suggested when I get close to it, I should say, hey, how are you different from these other cheaper models? And see if they'll bring the price down a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, that was actually me.
Just throw the money
I
at
can remember. I remember somebody a while back saying that they said about that they were thinking of not getting it anymore, and they gave them at the time they just had like the 2-seater like I have, and they upgraded them to the 4-seater for the same price.
Oh. But what if you don't want more seats? I mean, I'm happy with the number of seats. I just wish it wasn't so damn expensive.
I'm trying to figure out. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm trying to figure out how, like, these other channels, like, well, for like public safety, when you're going through your phone flipping for lives, it shows up in that format, but they're using, or some people use their laptops and can make it on that live. They're like the short form, but I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah, these kids these days. I was really struggling with the live yesterday at the rally. I'm like, I can't do this.
My laptop's on battery saver mode now. So
yeah, when I was using my laptop, it was plugged in all the time, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Well, I've got a washer and a dryer plugged in. I'm in the washroom.
Oh. I'm in the smoking shed.
In the, I was going to say smoky shed, and the computer plug is in the bedroom. I come in here so I don't wake up my wife, so when she gets the kids to school in the morning for the bus.
Nerdy, what up? Where's Nerdy? Where's Nerdy?
She hasn't been on for a while.
Oh, howdy, money. My eyes. I'm losing my eyes. Okay. You said howdy, money. I thought it said howdy, nerdy. Nerdy. We're coming up on 3 hours. Well,
Yep.
You're coming up on 3 hours. I'm coming up on 5 minutes.
I'm just excited to be here.
No. That's pretty sad when the highlight of your day is joining this panel.
I'm just glad to be able just to hang out because it's been a while since I hung out.
Yeah. I'm doing a little 10-step, half-assed 10-step, and I'm realizing my spiritual conditioning isn't very good right now. I need to hit a few more AA meetings, I think. I don't have a desire to drink, but I'm getting grumpy all the damn time.
Yeah, that's my job.
Maybe it's contagious. I'm getting it from Muckster. I was internally bitching all the way home last night when it was a very positive experience. But well, I guess it was my stomach was upset, my ankle was hurting.
Oh, you didn't break your ankle; you just got ankle issues.
Well, I had a hairline fracture several weeks ago. They gave me a boot, and I didn't wear it because it actually felt better for a while.
Yeah.
And then after New York, when I went for the follow-up, they said no more hairline. Wear the boot for 1 more week, which I didn't, and then go to a compression sock, which I've been wearing a compression sock the whole time, and it's slowly getting worse. I guess I should have worn the damn boot. But as of the day after I got back from New York, there was no hairline.
Yeah,
One thing, whenever I was doing that video today, as I was watching all that, I did like, it was so cool to see so many people standing in the long lines and all that. And everybody was cheerful and talking, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I noticed the conversations around me when we were speculating on where do we turn around to come back to the line that's going in. And we were all guessing Pennsylvania Avenue or Lafayette Park, which was pretty much on the spot. But the closest thing I heard to a complaint was about halfway back, just before they opened up the mall. Someone said they ought to just open up the mall and put a big projector. And about 5 minutes later, the park police are saying, "Attention, everyone! The ellipse is at capacity. Please move towards the mall." I'm like, okay, they listened to us. It was our idea, so yeah, the park police listened to us. But yeah, no bitching and what I could see in another crowd waiting that long in line and then it filling up, people bitching and moaning. But I didn't perceive any bitching or moaning except for the 3 Trump supporters, and the small groups were so pro-Palestine they were opposing the vice president. But none of them were very loud. One guy was a bit of an ass. He followed me for a while. I'm like, just go away. I shouldn't have struck up a conversation. Stop following me. Oh, he was so close to me when I was holding my cigarette. He ran into my cigarettes. Hey, you just burned me with a cigarette. I'm like, well, you're kind of on my ass, Gary. I didn't do it on purpose, but yeah. He'll probably tell his people, it was a violent act. One of those liberals say, burn me with a cigarette.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how people take it so extremely over the top over the politics instead of having a discussion.
Ouch.
Because in a discussion, there might be something you didn't know about that might change your mind or whatever. Instead of just like rah rah rah.
Oh yeah, it was actually a calm discussion. I learned that it was a Trump policy that made IT companies pay green card holders equivalent to an American worker. At first, I didn't believe it, but I researched. I'm like, holy shit, it is. It's a new policy under Trump. I wonder if he even realizes that he signed off on it.
Yeah.
People are worried that foreigners are going to take our jobs. They would have a complaint if someone comes from India and gets hired for half the price. Now we're competing with them for our jobs unfairly. But when they have to get paid, the same salary band and go up or down depending on their performance, now they don't have an unfair advantage. That was something. I'm sorry?
I'm surprised that was even legal before, that they could pay somebody less.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was legal or not, but it was put into written policy under Trump. And I kind of wonder, with his hatred for immigrants, I kind of wonder if he even realizes that he signed off on it. I don't think he reads a lot. Somebody slid in there, signed this. Okay.
Let's see. Before we moved to Florida in 2016, the guy that bought our trailer, he was telling us that he knew this Indian that they give him grants, and they'd come up and actually take over the gas stations. Like they took one over in the county that we lived in, and they keep the workers that had been there for years, a couple of weeks to learn from him, and then they boot them. Literally, let them go after they put all that time in there. So when you got people like that, that's what makes, gets the craziness out of people. But he said he watched him put boards, and he was adding on to the gas station, was throwing the boards in this nice car he got with the grant. And he's like, man, you going to tear up that nice car? And he's like, well, that's okay. I'll just hire somebody to clean it. But if you think about it, maybe they lived in poverty or something, but it's harder for, it's stuff like that, that makes people get on their high horse instead of investigate it, try to understand it, instead of just going red-assed about it. Like, I'm still undecided who I'm going to vote for. I won't know till the last minute.
I can tell you. Vote for Kamala Harris and Governor Walz.
I'll take that into consideration.
You can always just vote for me.
Well, there was a guy that she prosecuted in the 2 times, and the judge told Kamala, the guy said on the video, the judge said, if he comes in my courtroom one more time, you're going to lose your job. So that's just one story that came out about when she was prosecuting. I mean, the charges were dropped twice, because the first time it was the illegal search, and her response was, oh, his lawyer sidetracked me. So, or sideswiped or surprised or whatever. So she tried to charge him again, and it didn't work. And the judge got mad at Kamala when she was a prosecutor. It's been
I got corrected so many times yesterday. I feel entitled to correct you. It's Kamala.
Kamala Trump. No, Harris. I'm kidding.
I was saying Kamala too, or Kamala.
Just call her K.
There were so many people actually singing about it, and people wearing T-shirts that had literally a comma symbol and the word law, comma law.
Yeah.
I guess Trump also mispronounces it, and people are a little annoyed at that. And I'm like, well, I've been saying Kamala or Kamala.
Yeah.
Oh, now I get tongue tied. It's comma, like the comma mark, and law, comma law.
Well, people pronounce my last name. It's Bilger. They pronounce it Bigler, which the L's in front of the G.
Oh, yeah.
Bilger, but it's a Bilger, like tiger.
Oh, okay.
See, around here, that would be Bilger.
Yeah, I know. I found out that this guy that's a saxophone player, his name is Donald Bilger. And I about had a heart attack. I was like, I was always told Bill Gurr. That'd be like Roger instead of Roger. Hey, Mr. Roger Neighborhood.
Well, I don't know what time I got my internet back up, but I'm 9% uploaded on my latest copyright tests.
And I got 14% remaining.
Oh, what about you?
Which I got to go anyway. I got to get up in the morning, take my son to the doctor and then to school. His behavior is just getting ridiculous. The doctor's not giving him any medicine because he's lied to her. He says really mean things that not good for the algorithm. He was Baker acted like 2 times in Florida, if you know what Baker Act is, where they come with mental issues. And they put him in handcuffs too. And then they sent him to Orlando, and then I think they sent him to Bradenton when we lived in Florida. Yeah, he came at me with a knife one time. And I almost dislodged my catheter that's in my back. Luckily, I didn't. Because I had to subdue him. Then he got mouthy with me one time, and CPS got called, and we got cleared of everything. You know, they said, you know, there's a difference between, you know, a parent, you know, defending themselves. They said there was a case the parent was defending himself, but broke the teen's ribs and everything. And I'm like, that's a little excessive. But yeah, they had to come because of the counselor. He changed the story a little bit with the counselor, so I mean, automatically they have to come out. But they closed it and everything. We didn't have any problems or nothing. But still scary when they come out because you never know, because you always hear of them being these people that jerk your kids and you don't get to see them for 90 days.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of bad ones out there.
Yeah, like we had a doctor, my oldest son, when he was younger. The doctor called CPS, and actually it was Medicare's fault, because they even said, you know, we've been calling him trying to get his medication, and the doctor's office that is called Adonta, that's in Somerset, when we lived in Somerset, or in Eubank, which is in the same county as Somerset, and they wrote a check out to help get his medication. And we had to go through all that. They had to talk to our kids, and we had to explain to them Medicare was doing updates and stuff, and it messed up his insurance. And we were trying to get his medicine, and we got a check, and we were going to get it. So that had to explain all that and got that closed. So, I mean, everything we never got our kids took away or nothing. But the fact of it is, that was stupid when we tried to explain to that doctor we're having trouble with the Medicare or the Medicaid services.
Fucking internet. How long was I out before I looked up and realized that I was out?
I had just noticed just before you came back.
Oh,
I don't think you were gone long.
Yeah, I think maybe about a minute.
Okay. I was looking up the poll closing times. Okay. All right. I figured out what I needed to know. And I got heard something about Medicare and Medicaid.
But I did vote for Biden last year, and my wife gave me hell over it.
You tell your wife you did the right thing.
Yeah.
America survived 4 more years. Yeah, maybe we'd survive 4 more years, Trump. I don't see it. But I guess to be fair, I didn't think we'd survive Bush for 8 years. I'm sorry, President Cheney.
Yeah, that was a whole different thing. I worry about Trump getting back in now, and he's going to be like, "See, I can do whatever I want."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
oh yeah,
because he wanted to be a dictator the first time, and now it'd be like, "See, they want me here."
Yeah, they forgave him, and we know he wants to take away media licenses. He wants to take away First Amendment rights of news stations and newspapers. Yeah, all right. Let's.
I'm just confused about one thing. I've heard of this guy, but what does Steve Bannon have to do with anything? I don't know what his part is in any of it. I just know he got out of prison, was a spy or something, or accused of it.
No, he was. I forget exactly what he actually got convicted of.
Is he like the pillow guy, basically, like that pillow guy does?
Fraud.
Has the same or whatever you call it, same agenda or whatever.
Yeah, he was one of Trump's people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bannon is an outright. He's open about it. What do you call it when you're afraid of anything foreign? My brain is not tonight. Xenophobe. He's xenophobic.
Yeah. That's a new one for me.
I think he was convicted for fraud. The fraud being he literally was raising money. He was taking donations to help Trump build the wall, and he bought himself stuff with the money. Which surprises me that Trump still likes him. I'm like, usually when people commit fraud against Trump, he made an enemy.
So that's what I didn't understand, was he was bragging all about him on the whatever thing after he got out of prison.
Yep. What
the Kiwi
FMAK is going on here? Hey, Kiwi. And one of the weird things about him before he started mixing with Trump is a house that he had lived in, a rental. They found that the bathtub and plumbing under it had acid corrosion, kind of like the acid they use in the movies to dispose of bodies. Yeah, like that's some weird shit there. They never connected it with anyone missing.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him anyway. I just like, this dude get out of prison. I'm thinking, apparently it's a political stunt to get him out. So I didn't know. That's why I was asking instead of assuming.
Yeah, he was in the original Trump administration. Then he left. Steve, let's Google him. He's actually been out of the news for a while, so I don't remember too much.
How you doing tonight, Gary or Kiwi?
I'm here.
He used to be executive chairman of Breitbart News.
Breitbart. That's right.
And he used to be on the board of Data Analytics, a firm called Cambridge Analytica. Let's get down to his. Oh, he is a Navy veteran. Contempt of Congress, 4 months in prison. Criminal charges in September 22: money laundering, conspiracy, and scheme to defraud in New York State. And he was institutionalized at Federal Correction Institution, Danbury. Don't know what Danbury is.
Because he's acting like on the whatever, when he was in front of reporters, like, I'm fighting for our country and blah, blah, blah. And like he's being silented or something. So, so that's totally different.
Danbury's one of those country club prisons.
Hey, ain't what Martha Stewart was in one of those one of them prisons.
I was gonna say that's the. I don't know if that's where she went, but that's the same kind of place she went to. That's usually where they send the guys that do like the white collar stuff.
Well, I'm glad I asked because I would have been under the assumption if I was an idiot, thinking, "Oh man, he's fighting for freedom. They're trying to silence him." But yeah, them charges don't sound very like they're shutting him up for anything. Sound like he was trying to hide stuff. I'm going to bow out before this thing kicks me out.
Oh, well, I see Finkel died again.
Yep.
Well, we were talking about shutting down just before he got back, so.
Yeah. Says it, I think his internet's messing up. The way he talks.
Yeah, he just texted me and said he surrenders. Anyway, again, thanks for coming up.
Well, you're welcome.
Kiwi, you're late.
Yeah, Steve's been gone.
Yeah. We had a pretty active panel earlier today, Kiwi. You should have been here. 5 or 6 people up here. By the way, go watch the latest Finkel video. Anyway, I'm going to hit the goodbye button.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep, maybe see you tomorrow. And thanks for stopping in too, Kiwi.
Yep, you're very late.